Star Wars single-player titles are a strange beast. Gamers have been screaming out for a new one for years, but game studios just haven't been able to get them shipped. The loss of 1313 still hurts many. Nothing has been able to scratch that itch left by Knights of the Old Republic all those years ago. So it was with high hopes and just as high expectations that we all got excited collectively over the announcement that Respawn Entertainment were developing a new Star Wars title for EA. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is impressive right from the get-go. The visuals are crisp and sharp. Now granted, I played the game on a high-end PC, running 2K resolution on the epic setting, but the attention to detail stands out. The vistas in this game will lead to many a beautiful screenshot, that's for sure, but it's not just the panoramic views that leave the impression. The minute details like the mud on the ground look fantastic. It's worth noting that this is an Unreal 4 engine game, and I didn't see any of the texture pop-ins that engine is so famous for, so either the engine was highly customised, which Respawn are renowned for doing, or they had some super fast SSDs installed in these preview build PCs. Customisation is present here, with RPG elements seeping into every aspect of the gameplay. There is of course a varied skill tree with paths to unlock abilities that increase your power, defense and movement as you progress, tying into the idea that you're not quite a Master Jedi, but you're not a Padawan either. Cal, the Jedi you play as in Fallen Order, has had his Jedi training in the past, so he's no Luke or Rey, but for whatever reason he hasn't been able to progress sufficiently. That narrative provides an excellent backdrop for the game's progression unlocks, meaning you don't start all powerful, instead improving as you go on, putting points into Force, Lightsaber and Survival on that skill tree. The characters have been written specifically for the game, so there's a new adorable companion, BD1, to follow our Cal around and provide all kinds of benign assistance as we play. Both Cal and BD1 are customisable as well, unlocking coloured skins for the droid and clothing options for Cal. There are also plenty of lightsaber mods to pick up throughout the game, so your endgame character, while remaining true to the lore, will likely look quite different to that of your friends. Oh, and I'm not going to spoil anything here, but fans will be very pleased with certain moments. Combat is refreshing with a parry and attack style that feels natural. There's something about the way you manually deflect a stormtrooper's shots that feels incredibly satisfying. The game is very forgiving if you fall off a ledge or die by accident, or because of the environment, placing you straight back into the game. But if you die in combat, there are sanctions. Firstly, you'll lose all XP since your last skill point. Secondly, you'll respawn back at your previous meditation spot. And thirdly, you'll have to find and kill the enemy or creature that took you out in order to regain your lost XP. It's a level of challenge that is quite rewarding. Meditation occurs in particular places around the planets where there are distinctive markings on the ground. Think Tomb Raider campfires or, well, you know, bonfires, maybe? And it's a chance to refill your health and stims and spend any skill points you may have gained. Slicing creatures in half with the lightsaber looks and feels as good as you'd expect. Likewise, the moment you unlock Force Push, well, that's just a whole other degree of satisfaction, shoving enemies around with a gust of Force power. Movement feels fluid, with a whole host of mechanics ranging from a Titanfall-esque wall run, swinging on ropes, sliding around on the ice, climbing. There's an Uncharted feel to the combat in a good way, and you know how you could hold block to raise your lightsaber and see it as a light source in dark areas such as caves. It's just more of the small details we love to see. Your ship, the Stinger Mantis, is a kind of base of operations. It'll be your transportation between planets, an area for story dialogue, and the odd bit of collectible gathering. There are all kinds of bits and bobs to collect, including skins, stims, which are your health packs, force-sensitive objects, lore objects that provide additional story dialogue, and they're all over the planets in different formats. One of the most interesting loot mechanisms is the container boxes that BD1 can enter and search for us. There are puzzles to be solved as you venture around some of the planets, with different degrees of difficulty. There's a slider for the combat which can be adjusted on the fly, so it's handy if you want to absorb yourself in the story for a while and then jump back into a more difficult combat scenario. Boss fights are certainly going to be a challenge in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, with different techniques required to take them down. But overall the controls seem pretty intuitive for the most part, bar the call to action dots used for interacting with items in the world. It's never quite clear if something is going to be a right stick or a down arrow interaction until you pause and hover over it. That's quite grating, but if the most significant criticism I can come up with after playing for over 3 hours is that, then we could be in for something rather special here. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is an action-adventure RPG to look out for. It's going to fill that gap of exploration and puzzle solving while providing a combat style to match no other. Some may have been saying that we didn't know too much about this game with it being out so soon. Well, we do now, and this Star Wars fan is very, very excited for the final product.